So, Pittsburgh Steelers end up taking victory on Monday Night Football, 26-18, over the New York Giants in what ended up being significantly more of a nail biter than it probably should have been. Definitely a lot of opportunities in this game for the Steelers to really take a shot at pulling away, and they ultimately didn't take it. Definitely got lucky at a whole bunch of different points in this game to make sure that they came out with a victory. But I don't think it was the fault of any one person in particular. I don't think there's one person you can point to and blame. I think it is a good team overall win, especially in a game where a couple of phases didn't play up to potential. I think definitely looking at the defense through a decent chunk of this game is definitely going to be something to talk about, especially as we go into the bye week, and just kind of some of the struggles that we had on that front. But overall, I think it was a solid game. Najee Harris ran the ball incredibly well in the first half. Sadly, didn't keep that momentum up in the second. But again, still enough to come away with a win. Russell Wilson had another very efficient game, which is good to see that he continues to make the plays that we require of him to come out with a win. But this team still has lots of potential. We gave the Giants the chance to stay in this game. We didn't defend the deep ball well. We didn't defend the run well. Tyrone Tracy, I think, was Tyrone Tracy was the best player on the field at different points. If you aren't named T.J. Watt, who I think is always one of the best players on the field and had a big play that we'll definitely be talking about at a later point. But ultimately, this team is one of the reasons why I may have a heart attack at some point. And I think that's just being part of a Pittsburgh sports fan. I don't think it was necessarily that we played down the competition either. I think the Giants came in with a good game plan that they executed. They probably saw some things on film. And again, the defense didn't perform well. I think Dante Jackson had a really poor day out on the corner, whether he was covering Darius Slayton or Malik Neighbors. Again, we lucked out a lot of points. Special teams, though, had a great day. We got a nice Calvin Austin punt return touchdown, which we'll be sure to talk about. But Steelers just didn't dominate all the phases of play like you would hope from some of the games that we've seen recently. But again, the important part is a win's a win. You still got Chris Boswell to trust, who's also part of that special teams unit, and is why they shine so much. But yeah, I guess with that, we'll go into looking at some of the stats. So we see a couple of highlights there. But yeah, in terms of leading rushers, Tyrone Tracy, 20 carries for 145 yards. You can see that break off of that 45-yard touchdown run just kind of in the center of the screen there. Star player of the game for the Giants for sure. Najee Harris, though, 20 carries for 114 yards, still ran the ball very, very effectively. Nice hurdle there as well. Darius Slayton, we didn't defend the deep ball well against. He had a bunch of deep catches. Malik Neighbors got on the score sheet a lot. George Pickens, though, had a solid day. 4 catches, 74 yards, a couple of nice deep ball connections between him and Russell Wilson. And again, Russ, 20 of 28, 278 yards. Again, didn't have a bad day. I don't think the 26-8 scoreline necessarily reflects on him poorly. Though there was some poor red zone execution there that I think needs to be worked on, and I think that's pretty atypical for Russell Wilson. And I think we'll see that continue to improve. Touchdown wiped off the board due to a penalty, another due to a miscommunication with the receiver, and a third due to a something that I would call kind of BS, where a catch by George Pickens where he hopped on his right foot twice while in the end zone was ruled not a catch because that doesn't count. You have to get both feet down is the kind of issue there. But anyway, so be it. And here, of course, here's your scoring report. And again, lots and lots of field goals. You see Chris Boswell popping up on the board a lot. And it was a lot of short-range field goals, too. 31, 29, 27, 27 again. Just too many red zone field goals. And again, it's good to see that this team is driving. But those field goals have to be touchdowns. And against better teams, they will punish us for not scoring touchdowns off of those drives. Calvin Austin, that great day. Big 73-yard punt return touchdown on something that, on stream at least, I did not react to at all because I thought it was coming back for roughly the punter that might have gotten missed. And then also had caught a very, very nice 29-yard touchdown pass on a fade route from Russell Wilson. That was a great throw to put the Steelers up 23-9 at that point, and then just kind of allowed the Giants back into it from there. Again, Tyrone Tracy Nice day on the ground, that 45-yard touchdown run. Again, looking at the stats, yards weren't super different. Turnovers ended up being the difference at the end of the game. Russell Wilson did have a fumble, though it ended up not coming to anything. We'll talk about that in just a minute. And in terms of time of possession, Steelers not dominating it like you'd hope. Of course, it is going to be affected a little bit by that punt return, meaning that your offense is going to hold on to the ball quite as much. So, obviously take that with a grain of salt, where that is perhaps skewed a little bit due to the special team score from the Steelers, but that was after a 3-and-out from the Giants. But it was still about a 3-minute possession there for New York before Calvin Austin ripped that one off. So we'll go ahead and look at the box score now. Again, looking at it, especially in the second half, defense did a great job of getting Daniel Jones 4 sacks on the day. 2 for TJ Watt, 2 for Alex Highsmith, so good to see both of them get back on the board. Pass protection for Russell Wilson wasn't great, though. I know Dan Moore went down at one point, and we're still dealing with a lot of O-line injuries. So again, I got a chance to get healthy. The big star of the game for the Steelers was that overall rushing attack, 31 carries, 167 yards as a team. Jaylen Warren ran the ball effectively when we needed him to. Najee Harris, I think, was the star of the Steelers offense at multiple different points in that game. Russell Wilson, also 3 carries for 7 yards, did have that fumble while trying to scramble away from pressure. Really just a good play by the Giants defense to get that done. But in terms of the Giants offense, we really struggled covering Darius Slayton a lot of deep routes where just he was able to find little seams, and Daniel Jones able to hit him between the numbers where he was really comfortable from. Malik Neighbors as well got a load of targets. 7 receptions, had a bunch of had numerous drops, kind of sprinkled in there that really weren't that great. So that stat line could have been a lot better. That Steelers secondary definitely needs a little bit of work. Maybe again a little bit of time to rest up, recover, because we go into Washington in 2 weeks' time after the bye, and that's a team where they are dangerous, and that's a game where we have to be firing all cylinders from the word go. But Van Jefferson had a pretty solid day as well. 4 catches, 62 yards. Pickens was certainly the star for 74. Calvin Austin, though, I think if you're thinking about an MVP for the game, I think it would have to be Calvin Austin. 3 catches, 54 yards, including that touchdown and the punt return touchdown. I think he's got to be star number 1. Harris was star number 2. And then if you scroll down, Mr. TJ Watt, star number 3. Second on the team, 7 tackles total, 5 of them solo, 2 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits, 2 sacks, and a very, very clutch forced fumble late on in that football game. Just was able to beat the man one-on-one, got a great punch, really textbook TJ Watt, coming off that edge, punching that ball loose, diving on top of it, and really changed the late game momentum in that one. So it was great to see there. Also, once again, I get to put on the beanie for Beanie Bishop, who came up with a big late game interception to end up icing that game with under a minute to play. That allowed the Steelers to take the knee and end that one. So that one is great to see as well. Chris Boswell continues to be automatic. Of course, his only miss was from like 60 yards, pretty early on in the season. So he just continues to be automatic. 4 of 4 from field goals, 2 of 2 from extra points. So it was a pretty easy day for him. Corliss Waitman, also shout out to him. 3 punts for 131 yards. He could be a longer-term option at punter too, depending on if we want to re-sign him there. I guess just, again, looking through the stats, like the stats tell you that this game is close, but when you watched it on the field, it really shouldn't have been. The Steelers team just didn't play very great. And again, looking at team stats, we had more first downs. We were more efficient on third down. We had fewer plays total. But, both teams same amount of drives. But we had, almost a yard more per play. But yeah, it was just, we gave up too many chunk plays today. And the Giants shot themselves in the foot a lot. 11 penalties for 65 yards. Really killed a lot of their performances as well. We'll go ahead and jump into this Beanie Bishop pick to ice the game. Just real quick, of course, very clutch from Beanie to be able to pull that one out, and that's why I have the beanie on right now. We'll take it off though for the rest of the game. But As a whole, I think that you can take a lot of different pieces from this game. Can the Steelers team win ugly? Yes. And that's something that we kind of knew coming in. But I think we saw a different look today from the Steelers team because the defense didn't have their best game today. They gave up over 400 yards, which is very atypical from this defense. But the offense and the special teams showed that, hey, we can at least keep some sort of pace with that and still give us a chance at winning. So, of course, we're going into the bye at 6-2. We now lead the AFC North. Of course, that's without playing a game in the division yet, but we do have now a one-game lead over the Baltimore Ravens. And I think that, again, puts us in a really good spot. The back half of the schedule only gets tougher. We got a bye week to get healthy. We have a lot of injuries, specifically on that O-line, to try and get sorted out. I want to see Zach Frazier start to come back, hopefully. Maybe, hopefully, we can see Roman Wilson come back at some point. I'm not sure if he's on IR now, but we can hopefully start to see a couple of pieces start to come back. The O-line has started to meld very nicely, especially in that run game. So I think, we can certainly go up from here, but getting healthy is priority number one, and making sure we have a game plan for the back half of the season is certainly plan number two. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, despite doing their best to give me a couple of heart attacks through that one, almost thinking that we were going to go to overtime, managed to pull out the 26-18 win over the New York Giants. So it'll be a 2-week break before the next post-game summary, but I might do a mid-season kind of assessment of the Steelers next week, so definitely subscribe if you're interested in that. And, definitely be sure to check out some of the other videos if you're interested in some of the other reviews that I've done. But until next time, I'll see you later.